Oops. Good evening, Junior League of Charlotte. I am Charlita Hatch, and I am honored to call this meeting of the Junior League of Charlotte to order at 6:30 p.m. Yesterday was I am Charlita Hatch, and I am honored to call this. Yesterday was another tough day for the United States. The violent protests and breach of the U.S. Capitol in Washington, D.C. yesterday stand in direct opposition of who the Junior League of Charlotte is and everything we stand for. In June, the Junior League of Charlotte took a public position and stance as an anti-racist organization. Excerpts from that statement include, we must do the work, we must speak out, and we must be visible. We must know when to be quiet and when to listen, and equally important, when to speak up. Each of us who watched and listened to what was happening yesterday are dealing with this in different ways. I recognize many of you are hurting and saddened about where we are as a nation. I encourage us to be empathetic to those who may be processing and even struggling. As a nonprofit organization, we walk a delicate line. We do not publicly support partisan politics, regardless of our personal positions, and are dedicated to creating an inclusive environment. Yet at the same time, our mission compels us to develop women leaders who will impact the community. We must not lose hope. Doing the right thing always means remembering that the only way forward is together. This morning, several of your league leaders met with our community advisors, and it felt good to start the day with community leaders focused on providing solutions to our city's most complex problems. I have to say that it feels really good to receive virtual vibes from hundreds of diverse women right now, united together around our mission of promoting volunteerism, developing women, and impacting the community. Thank you for choosing to spend your time this evening at this general membership meeting, where we are focused on the future of the Junior League of Charlotte and how we will continue to impact the Charlotte community. As we think about where the league will be as we turn 100, 120, and 150, I hope you know that the decisions you make today to be here, to vote for the future, and to learn from our amazing speaker will be the seeds that are planted that will grow for years to come. I will now turn it over to President-elect Kelly Lofton for our reflection.
Thank you, Charlita. Happy New Year, everyone. I don't know about you guys, but it's one of my most anticipated New Year's. And although I'm really excited to put 2020 behind us, of course we know that a change in date doesn't lead to a change in circumstances. We just saw that yesterday with the attack in Washington. It will require a change in actions that will produce a different outcome. That's why on a personal level, we make vision boards, we set intentions, and make resolutions. The good news, and it's really exciting news, is that we have the power to change, to adapt, and to be different than we were the year before, and even the day before. There's real power there. And if you think back to this meeting last year, we certainly had a few twists and turns in the road that we didn't expect. But Helen Keller reminds us that a bend in the road is not an end of the road unless you fail to make the turn. So now that we're in 2021, we get to reflect on what was. We get to focus on what did happen and what we're grateful for. What do we want our next year to be about? And how do we nurture our inner selves on this journey? So let's have a quick moment of reflection. Ask yourself, what did you feel like at this time last year? Were you optimistic, excited, hopeful? What were you feeling at midnight a year ago and we were officially in 2020? What's changed? What are the feelings you're feeling right now that we're going into 2021? Is it the same feeling? Is it different? Our emotions play a big part in what we're able to manifest. So it's very important to check in with yourself, to recenter and affirm. So as we welcome 2021, we are reminded again, the truth is 2021 is just a year on the calendar, but it is each of us who will bring newness and vitality to 2021. And like many of you, I've set my intentions and made resolutions for this year. There are areas I've committed to further develop, like exercising more, investing more time in relationships, setting aside more time for pursuing and fueling my passions, and on a spiritual level, spending more time with God. And as for the league, while we're at the beginning of the calendar year, we're now halfway through the league year, which is the perfect time to look back and reflect on where you've been and where you're going and how you plan to get there. Because a beautiful, healthy, and strong you makes a collective, beautiful, and strong us. As I reflect on this year, as a league, we've already seen new ways of operation and managed to stay connected in new, inspiring, and creative ways. As I embark on the rest of this league year and start on my 2021 personal resolutions, I will continue to draw inspiration from what I've already seen here with you, my Junior League sisters. And as a fellow Junior Leaguer, I depend on you, and I'm confident in you and in us. And I can't wait to see what lies ahead that we will achieve together in our collective pursuit of community impact and the development of women and one another. So here's to 2021. Let us look forward to pushing our community and one another to new heights, celebrating each other's victories, and supporting one another every step of the way. Thank you all. Now back to you, Charlita.
Thank you, Kelly. The Program Development and Evaluation Committee, which is the team that examines project and placement requests for the following year and guides the development of a proposal for the allocation of our people, our time, and dollars in the community in the next league year, will now present their recommendations for the 2021-2022 community placements. I'd like to welcome Amber Shannon, Community Impact Council Manager, to present the motion on behalf of the Project Development and Evaluation Committee.
Thank you, Madam President. On behalf of the Project Development and Evaluation Committee, I move to approve the 2020-2021 Community Project Slate proposed by the Project Evaluation Team and approved by that committee along with the management team.
Thank you. The motion comes out of a committee and therefore does not require a second. Proceed with your motion.
Hi, everyone. We are going to provide the details for our community slate here and give you some updates before we move forward with the motion. So first, we wanted to go over our community focus area, which is for the 2018-2023 time period. As most of you know, it is focused on school readiness, that are the partners that we communicate with ensure all children are school ready by focusing on health and educational needs of children from birth to 5th grade in the priority areas deemed by Mecklenburg County. And the zip code priority areas are listed below. There are 6 total. And now we will go through the community slate one by one. Next slide. So here is our proposed community slate for the 2021-2022 year. As you can see, we have 3 new placements that we will be going through. Next slide. First is the Alexander Youth Network. This is a new placement for the upcoming year. Alexander Youth Network provides mental and behavioral health care to children across multiple locations, and we are going to be focusing on the residential facility within one of our priority zip codes. The Junior League volunteers will be serving by providing one-on-one sessions with children, either doing a weekly lunch or a dinner buddy, tutor, or classroom buddy, and planning and hosting special events throughout the year. Next slide. The second is Bright Blessings, which is a current placement. This will be focusing on the celebration, educational enrichment activities of children pre-K to high school within homeless shelters and schools within the Charlotte area. And the JLC volunteers will be serving by hosting birthday parties for children that are homeless or in transition and assembling hygiene and snack kits for the CMS students. Next is Center for Community Transitions, again, a current placement. The CCT is serving families and children impacted by incarcerations, and the families participate in a program called Families Doing Time. And the volunteers will be serving by providing monthly support activities for the youth and the families to create bonding through literacy, STEM, and creative arts, as well as a variety of monthly initiatives. And then they will also be participating in quarterly cultural excursions as well. Next is Charlotte Bilingual Preschool. This is going to be a new placement for the upcoming year. Charlotte Bilingual Preschool prepares Spanish-speaking children for success in school and life by providing superior dual language, multicultural early childhood education. And the Junior League volunteers will be serving by supporting a specific program, which is supported by Parent Child Plus, with various supply drives and delivering materials to families, providing virtual homework assistance, material bags for students, and classroom assistance. Charlotte Speech and Hearing is a current placement. They provide high-quality speech, language, and hearing services for low-income families in the Charlotte area. And the volunteers will be serving by reading stories and writing personal notes to children while they wait to receive speech and hearing services. Currently, they're doing this virtually, wrapping and delivering books, creating lesson plans and kits, and then doing the virtual reading sessions. Next is Classroom Central. And Classroom Central is also a current placement. It's an organization that provides school supplies to teachers and students through distribution channels, and also includes a free on-site store, curbside, and mobile delivery services. Volunteers will be serving by working in the free store or the warehouse by either sorting or counting products and supplies, and then building literacy and homework kits for CMS students. Next is DigiBridge, again, a current placement. DigiBridge fosters optimal use of technology and learning environment, ensures that all 21st century learners have opportunities to succeed in the digital age. And they do this by their STEAM Saturday sessions that they do throughout the year. And they have been able to do these virtually. So the volunteers will be serving in the capacity of the STEAM lab sessions to assist with the virtual instruction and then delivering and producing the kits. Done in a Day is a current placement, and they organize and implement a variety of community service projects according to our school ready focus within our priority zip codes. And this is a more self-organized, self-scheduled placement where they provide support to a variety of Junior League fundraiser and events, even to other committees. So they do that with providing projects that can be completed within one day, again, within the priority zip codes. Heart Math Tutoring is going to be a new placement for this upcoming year. They provide students with tutoring sessions in math and strategically focus on students who may not have access to resources or tutoring. And the Junior League volunteers will be serving by providing tutoring sessions to 1 or 2 students on a one-on-one session, and these will be held virtually for the upcoming year, which is a great way to build the relationships with the students while they're going to be learning virtually as well. Next is Renaissance West. It is a current placement. Renaissance West coordinates the education and services continuum into the Renaissance community to promote quality housing, education, health, and wellness. So it's an overall support services for that area. And the volunteers will be serving by providing healthy cooking demonstrations because we are combining and merging Kids in the Kitchen within Renaissance West. Kids in the Kitchen is currently doing cooking demonstrations within that community. and we thought this would be a great way to merge the efforts. They will also be assisting with the mobile food pantry and planning special events throughout the year. Next is Sugar Creek Charter School, a current placement, and they prepare students by academically helping to connect families with daily happenings at the school. Volunteers will be serving by planning and assisting with quarterly on-site events as they are available, and then building packets for events as needed to provide staff, to provide support for staff and the PTA. And last is Thompson Child and Family Focus, again, is a current placement. They provide Charlotte's most vulnerable children with long-term salaried professional mentors. So the volunteers will be serving as reading buddies, and this can be done virtually, hopefully doing a Valentine's Day dance, and then planning enrichment activities. And at this point, I'm going to give it back over to Charlita.
Thank you, Amber and Siobhan. Huge thank you to members of the project evaluation team, which is a cross-section of our entire league, for all of your work to research, investigate, and vet the slate of our community projects on which you have just presented. Per our policies, the management team has approved this slate of projects, and it is now before members for consideration. We will now allow 5 minutes for any additional questions you might have. Please keep the discussion germane to the topic of the proposed project slate. At this time, I will request that all members please stop commenting in the YouTube or Facebook channels and only post a comment if you have a question. At this time, please stop all comments in the chat and only post a comment if you have a question. We have received one question as of 6 p.m. today from the form provided in the Know Before You Go email. The question comes from Junior League member Rachel Besnoff, and it says, why isn't Big Shots a community partner for next year? We have partnered with them for 20 years. Why are we not partnering with them during a global pandemic? I will turn this over to Community Impact Council Manager Amber Shandon to provide a response.
Thank you, Charlita. Rachel, thank you for your question. And to answer it, first, I want to say on behalf of the entire PDE committee that this was a very difficult year to make decisions. As everybody knows, we had to cancel fundraising events, which in turn directly impacts the amount of money that we can provide to our partners that apply. And we had a record amount of partners to apply for this year. Now, to answer your question, because this was such a tough decision, our main goal as a junior league is to provide sustainable efforts for the community. And Big Shots is part of a committee called Healthy Beginnings. And this was something that we decided has been sustainable. We have partnered with them for 20 years. They have become successful and sustainable and no longer really need our services. Our volunteering services have been in decline. Our need for us has been in decline the past several years. And we are still planning on participating and assisting with that event, which will still continue throughout the upcoming years and can be an event throughout Done in a Day or even a provisional project. So our support certainly doesn't need to stop just because they are not going to be a community partner. But this was not a light decision to be made, but we do realize that this event can go on without us, and that was our goal, to create a sustainable and impactful event for our community. If you have any additional questions based on that, please let me know. Charlita?
Thank you, Amber. Great response. We have another question from Junior League member username Celie M. Why did we phase out Second Harvest? I will now turn it over to Amber to provide this response as well.
Thank you for that question. And it is similar to a response to Big Shots. We have partnered with Second Harvest for many years, decades even, and they are a partner within the community that has a multitude of support that for the Junior League, we are no longer needed. Again, it is a fantastic organization. And again, we can certainly partner with them throughout a done in the day or provisional projects. But with the amount of money that we did have with the needs that were requested, we felt overall that we could provide a higher impact with a lower amount of funds requested from other partners that needed that sustainability that Second Harvest currently has. So again, although they are a great partner, they do great work within the community. This is something that we felt we could use our efforts towards other organizations and nonprofits that could use our funds and our time. Thank you. Charlita, back to you.
Thank you, Amber. At this time, I will ask if there are any further questions. Are there any further questions? As a reminder, the motion on the floor is to approve the 2020-2021 community project slate. Are there any further questions? Hearing no further questions, we will now move to voting on the motion, which is to approve the slate of projects brought forward by the Projects Development and Evaluation Committee. All active members can do this by using the electronic ballot that was emailed to you yesterday within the meeting logistics. Thank you, Amber, Shannon, and your entire team. At this time, we will have the report of the nominating committee, which is the team charged with facilitating the process of selection and election of the leadership for the coming year. I'd like to welcome the chair of that committee, Dr. Monique Perry-Graves, to present the 2021-2022 leadership team.
Good evening, Junior League of Charlotte, and Happy New Year. I am pleased to represent the 95th Nominating Committee tonight for one of our exciting events as we continue our commitment to our mission. Madam President, on behalf of the 95th Nominating Committee, I move to approve the 2021-2022 leadership slate proposed and approved by the Nominating Committee.
Thank you. The motion comes out of does not require a second. Proceed with your motion.
Thank you. I am pleased to present, as the slides come up, our leadership slate of the year. This information was also shared in an email to all of membership. While I won't read all of the names, I will share with you the general groups that are part of the slate this year. First, you see on the board, the 2021-2022 leadership slate board of directors. On the next slide, you'll see the 2021-2022 management team. On the next slide, you will also see the incoming assistant council managers, which are also part of the management team. The next slide will start our committees. This is the 2021-2022 nominating committee. And finally, and most exciting, the 95th nominating committee is especially excited to be the first committee to seat our inaugural diversity inclusion committee for 2021 and 2022. Madam President.
Thank you, Monique, and a big thank you to the members of the nominating committee for all of your hard work over the past several months, from September to tonight, reviewing the nominations of our members and working to build the slate of leaders on which you have just presented on and which our members will vote. Because our bylaws state that a single slate is to come out of the nominating committee as approved by that committee and presented to membership, and but for a petition option which was not exercised, there are no means by which additional nominations may be taken. Our bylaws do not allow for nominations to be received from the floor. As such, with the nominating committee having presented its report, nominations are closed, and we will proceed to, in accordance with our bylaws, conduct the election by electronic ballot. The electronic ballot contains all of those officers and positions on which our membership votes. Per our policies and procedures, the nominating committee is designated to collect, count, and record all membership meeting ballots and will share the results with membership after the ballot closes on January 14th. At this time, each active member should check the email address that is on file with the Junior League of Charlotte. Active members, please mark your vote as to the community projects and the nominating slate ballot. Back to you, Monique.
Thank you, Madam President. We appreciate everyone getting their vote in as soon as possible, and we will be continuing to monitor all the votes as we finalize this final step of our incoming slate. The next thing that the nominating committee will be embarking upon is our willingness to serve. We are still seeking leaders to step up to the plate. I want to review a couple of key dates with you and share some additional information. Our nominating willingness to serve process starts on January 15th with nominations. We need for you to tell us who's ready to step up to the plate. We also will have a willingness to serve information session that is eligible for 1 membership credit, where we will share information about the willingness to serve process. And then following that, on January 24th, the submission period opens. We have over 100 positions to fill. They include committee leaders, including the exciting new committee CIC placements from this evening, advisors, foundation roles, and many, many more. This is an easy application. You just list your preferred preferences. And if you don't nominate yourself, or if you don't share with us information about those in the league that may be interested in stepping up to the plate, we won't know. And provisionals and transfers are eligible, welcome, and encouraged to apply for willingness to serve positions. Please be sure to share with us those that you know can step up to the plate. So I've said that 3 times, so you know we need our nominations. On the next slide, I'm excited to share a little bit more about our willingness to serve. And that will be via a special video invitation that will be played by one of our local notable women community leaders and arena host, Jacinda Jacobs. So it looks like we might have had some minor technical difficulties on the back end, but we will share this video in our Facebook page. But I'm excited to share with you that Jacinda Jacobs will be joining us as our special leadership guest, and will be delivering a special inspirational message for leaders for our willingness to serve leadership session. Now more than ever, we need to all step up to the plate as we continue to impact our community. This leadership session will occur on January 21st at 7 o'clock. The sign up for this will be posted after the meeting, but many of you have already signed up. We look forward to joining you virtually and having a chance to hear from Jacinda. Thanks, everyone.
We will now turn it over to Catherine Southard.
Good evening and welcome to our January GMM. We are thrilled to have Crystal Roundtree as our guest speaker. Crystal has served as the Executive Director for Teach for America for the Charlotte-Piedmont Triad region since December of 2017. She has been on staff since 2005. In her current role, Crystal was responsible for leading the merger of the Charlotte and North Carolina Piedmont Triad regions. She now oversees an operation of nearly 900 core members and alumni across both communities. Crystal was the founding executive director for Teach for America Jacksonville, where she launched and scaled efforts for over 8 years. During this time, her impact led to growth from over 550 core members in 2008 to nearly 350 core members and alumni in 2015, all while raising over $20 million. Upon receiving her BA as a summa cum laude graduate from Clark Atlanta University, Crystal taught first grade as a 2003 Metro Atlanta core member, where she was the regional finalist for a Sue Lehman Teacher's Excellence Award. She has been featured in 2 books, Teaching as Leadership by Stephen Farr and Switch by Chip and Dan Heath. Crystal is a proud Texas native who now resides in Charlotte, North Carolina with her husband, Chad, her 3-year-old Kingston, and a rambunctious little puppy, Koba. She sits on several nonprofit boards and is the past recipient of the Jacksonville Business Journal 40 Under 40 Woman of Influence Awards. Please help us virtually welcome Crystal Roundtree.
Hello, everyone. I'm so happy to be here with you all this evening. I want to first thank Charlita and Brianna for inviting me to be a part of your gathering. It is really an honor to be here. You can see I've been relegated to the guest room of my house, and it is around nap time, and I have bedtime, and I have a toddler. So if that door opens behind me, just go with the flow, and we will keep it moving. But I feel really privileged to get to share a bit of my own story and journey with you all this evening. As Catherine said, my name is Crystal Roundtree, and I've served as the executive director for Teach for America Charlotte Piedmont Triad for the past 3 years. I've worked on staff with Teach for America for more than 15 years now, and my family has happily called the Plaza Midwood neighborhood home since 2017. We launched Teach for America in Charlotte 16 years ago because we believe that ensuring our students have the opportunity to live true choice-filled lives will require many interventions from many different directions. And so we do this by finding and nurturing leaders who commit to expanding opportunity for low-income students, beginning with at least 2 years of teaching in a public school. Teach for America has contributed over 1,000 education leaders to Charlotte since 2004, impacting tens of thousands of students' lives. Our approach is focused on talent. We invest in finding the best people, the most promising future leaders, and getting them proximate to the problems facing students and families. During that time, they are first managing the system that is their classroom. And if you ask any teacher, and I know some of you all have spent time working in schools, so you know, it is truly one of the most complex environments there is, and you are making literally hundreds of decisions a day. You're connecting the dots, spotting inefficiencies, making meaning of the reality before you, but also holding the hope and optimism of what can be as well. And so from there, they take their insight, their conviction with them wherever they go as they continue to apply their leadership towards systemic change. In Teach for America, we often use the term leadership journey to describe the personal experiences that have shaped who we are as leaders today. And leadership truly is a journey, a non-linear path with, as 2020 reminded us, countless unexpected turns and challenges along the way. And so I want to share a little bit about my own leadership journey with you all this evening, as well as some insight that I've gained from some incredible leaders and individuals along the way. So to start, I believe that we have to constantly examine ourselves and sort of recognize ways that our own stories and experiences have shaped us and molded us into the leaders we are today. The good, the bad, and everything in between. So here is a snapshot of my own journey, beginning with a very key player, Miss Reagan. Miss Reagan. I was 5 years old, and I was pretty sure I had met a movie star when I finally stepped foot into the real life classroom building and school building that I had been dreaming about for months. She was the second most beautiful woman I had ever seen. My mama was first, of course. And I was pretty convinced that even though she didn't look like him, she had to be related to the president at the time due to her last name. This is the woman who transformed my life. She interrupted the path that I was set to be on by having a vision for my future that I am sure my mother wanted, but did not know how to access. When my kindergarten class matured into fourth graders, Miss Reagan found a way to get us all back under her wing, and she became a fourth grade teacher. Towards the end of the year, she had a meeting with parents and she laid it out straight. There were not strong fifth grade teachers at our school, and the middle school and high schools that we were on track to go to would not have challenged us, and in her opinion, weren't quality schools. And so she encouraged parents to find other options, and she presented those options in one-off conversations with as many parents as she could. And when she talked to my mom, I remember sitting in the back at a table, sort of doing my homework in the classroom, and I looked up and I saw my mom crying, and then I saw the two of them hugging. And when I got on the bus with my mom to go home, she told me that she was pretty sure Miss Reagan was an angel. My teacher had not only advocated for me and for my classmates, but she was empowering our parents to access a vision for our futures that would later enable us to become the authors of those futures. So we wouldn't become stifled by the low expectations that lie ahead for us on our current paths. In my personal situation, the one that made my mama cry, Ms. Reagan, I'll say, helped us navigate the system so that I could attend school in a nearby suburb. With this access to a better quality of education, my mom took on extra jobs and scraped together the money to buy a car for the 45-minute commute for us to and from my new school. I will forever be indebted to my mom for the incredible sacrifices that she made so that I could be the person that I am today. Thanks to Ms. Reagan's leadership and initiative and my mom's commitment and support, I was able to take a pathway along my own journey that, given our circumstances, many people wouldn't have even deemed possible. Their examples are a notable reminder that we are all a part of someone's journey, whether we know it or not. Anytime our path intersects with someone else's, we have an opportunity to play a powerful role in their journeys. And I had the tremendous privilege of journeying alongside some of the most incredible young souls for 2 years after I graduated from college. So to set it up, during my senior year at Clark Atlanta University, I did a lot of reflecting on how I had gotten to where I was in that moment and what I wanted to go do with the next chapter of my life. And so as I explained and sort of explored and looked at all of my options, I began asking myself, what if I had what it took to advocate for and inspire a classroom of students the way that Ms. Reagan did? And so 17 years ago, I packed up my stuff and headed off to summer training to become a teacher with Teach for America, another milestone in my journey that would forever change my life and my career path. In 2003, I stood at the front door of my first grade classroom at A.D. Williams Elementary in Atlanta and greeted my students for the very first time, not knowing that these tiny little humans who are now big humans who have graduated from college and are living their own lives, but I would never know that those tiny humans would forever change the trajectory of my life. So first day of school, I directed each child to find their name on their desk as they entered the classroom. And I had to reassure a few parents that I was in fact the teacher, despite looking like a student myself. But when I, walked through the door with the last child sort of sniffling as he had to say goodbye to his mom, I saw all of my students still standing at the front of the room with their backpacks still resting on their little shoulders. And at first I was confused by why they weren't following my very explicit directions to go inside, find your name, and have a seat. But then a little scratchy voice piped up and said, "Miss Jones," that's my maiden name, Jones, "Miss Jones, we don't know which ones are our names." And I realized a devastating truth just then, that a majority of my first grade students could not recognize their own names in print. But in that moment, I resisted the sinking feeling of despair by grounding myself in the hope that we still had 180 days to work together towards the larger goal of not just meeting, but going beyond our grade level expectations. And so we persisted. And I knew we needed a goal. And so one morning, during one of our morning meetings, I asked my class, what should our goal be for the year? And one of my wonderful little scholars, Loera, spoke up and said, we should be third graders. And now you have to understand the geography of our school to know that third, fourth, and fifth grade were upstairs, while the younger kids were sort of stuck on the first floor. And so third graders were the big kids to my students, and they wanted to be just like them. And so our class goal was set. It was to attain third grade level skills by the end of the year, or as my students would say, to become third graders. It was ambitious, but I never doubted my students' ability to reach it. We worked hard together, and my students spent countless hours sharpening their literacy skills during class, before and after school, and at home. I invited parents and family members in on Mondays and Fridays where they could get an overview of the weekly material that we would cover on Mondays, and then allow my kiddos to reflect and show off everything that they had learned on Fridays. And having the consistency of a Monday and Friday schedule was really important for working parents who couldn't always just come into school for a parent-teacher conference at my convenience. And it wasn't mandatory, but I will tell you, I always had a full house. And if a parent wasn't able to join us, I obsessively found other ways to connect, inviting them to join before and after school tutoring sessions with their children so that they could actually learn how I was teaching the material, and sometimes helping them sharpen some of their own skills. I was going to restaurants where they worked so that they could meet with me during their break time. And hey, I got to have dinner out of it too. And offering to do weekend tutoring or enrichment for those that desired it. I just found any way possible I could with my students and their families. And I want to pause and note that it's easy to sort of skim quickly past the hard work and the subsequent tears and exhaustion that accompanied all the challenges that we faced. I don't want to glamorize it. It was really hard work. But the reality was, school year, my students were not only reading and writing their own names, but over 90% of them were reading at or above a third grade level by the end of those 9 months. With incredible persistence from my students and their families, our hopes became a reality, and we met our goal of becoming third graders. So together, we had arrived at a noteworthy spot along our own individual journeys, which was really special. So this school year, of course, has looked very different for teachers and students than it did back when I was in the classroom. When school buildings closed in March, our system experienced the single most disruptive moment in the history of US education. The inequities in our education system have been laid to bear by the COVID-19 pandemic and a renewed national awareness of centuries of racism and injustice. In the last year, it has become exceedingly clear just how deeply we need to reimagine education and ensure that students, especially those in low-income communities and in communities of color, are no longer left out and left behind. It's easy to despair when so many people are suffering, but I believe that as author and legal advocate Brian Stevenson puts it, hope is the enemy of injustice. I found great hope and inspiration in the many ways that our network of educators and leaders, all who started their journeys as Teach for America Corps members, have been reimagining what is possible for students in the face of so many challenges. And I wanted to share a couple of those with you now. So take, for example, Emily Elliott Gaffney, Executive Director of Heart Math Tutoring, a nonprofit that's expanding their virtual tutoring model to engage volunteers from across the country to help build confidence and foundational math skills for Charlotte area elementary students every week. Their goal is to recruit 1,000 volunteers to meet the growing demand for tutors. And I was so excited to see them on you all's volunteer list for this year. I've also been inspired by one of our core member teachers, Lakia Colquitt, who simultaneously juggled parenting a newborn and teaching from home last spring. As a mama myself, who is working from home with a toddler, this is all too familiar. Lakia was just a few days back at work at her school for maternity leave when Governor Cooper announced that schools would shift to virtual learning. So her adorable 3-month-old son made several cameo appearances during her daily lessons, and she ended up being named Rookie Teacher of the Year for all of Guilford County schools. I've been inspired by Jimmy McQuilkin, the founder and executive director of Urban Promise Charlotte, who led his team to transform their after-school enrichment school sites across Charlotte into community-wide lunch distribution sites and all-day care and distance learning support centers for over 200 children. I've been inspired by Stephen Jefferson, a 7th grade math teacher at Governor's Village STEAM Academy, who organized a virtual conversation for his school on race, Racism, and Policing in the United States back in June. The forum was optional, but all 80 students attended, asking tough questions, posing needed changes, and sharing books and videos with each other. I've been inspired by Paris Harrell, a teacher at Windsor Park Elementary. When she heard that many of her students' parents had been laid off in the spring, she worked to raise nearly $10,000 to buy groceries for families at her school. She coordinated hundreds of grocery runs and deliveries in East Charlotte during the shutdown. I've been inspired by Janine Bryant, a classroom educator turned advocate who co-founded CREED, the Center for Racial Equity in Education, in 2019. With CREED, Janine is working to confront the legacy of systemic racism by equipping leaders with research-based interventions and organizing strategies to transform the experience of education in North Carolina. And finally, I've been inspired by middle school math teacher Will Losel. In late March, Will went to the ER with a fever and chills. Doctors did an MRI and immediately admitted him to the hospital, where he stayed for the next 5 days as they ran various tests and scans. Will, who was at the time a first-year teacher at Albemarle Road Elementary School, was eventually diagnosed with a very aggressive and rare form of double expressor lymphoma. He began a rigorous chemo regimen that had him in the hospital for 4-day stretches on a recurring basis for his treatment. Will continued to teach his students throughout his hospital stays and was featured on Ellen and interviewed by People magazine. Will's positivity is absolutely infectious, and I am thrilled to report that he is now cancer-free. These are just a few examples from the nearly 1,000 core members and alumni through Teach for America in our region that I could have chosen to highlight. And I share about these individuals to say that while we will all face countless unforeseen roadblocks and barriers in our efforts to make a more equitable society, when you direct your energy and focus towards carving out a new path forward, you will see progress. Change is possible, but not without viewing every challenge as an opportunity to deepen our resolve, adapt, and persist with optimism. We must lean into community along the way, especially when the road is rocky and the best path forward is unclear. Ms. Reagan and my first graders taught me that. And these incredible leaders in our community are reminding me of those valuable lessons every single day. The innovation, agility, and commitment of our core members and alumni has been extraordinary, and it has mirrored what we have seen from students, families, and educators across our state as we've navigated the educational realities of this pandemic. While we work to meet the needs of our students in this moment in history and at this step in their journeys, we must be clear that we cannot and will not go back to the status quo that was normal when the pandemic is over. As a mom of a Black son who is zoned to attend a historically low-performing Title I school, the stakes feel particularly high. I know that what I want from my son is probably no different than anyone here who has children, and no different from any other parent in our city, no matter their means or their socioeconomic status. I firmly believe that we all have a role to play in the fight for educational equity. And right now, we have a unique opportunity, and I'd offer an obligation, to reimagine what comes next. Together with students and families and teachers, we have to take a real honest look at what's working and what isn't, and make permanent systemic changes to ensure that every single child growing up in North Carolina gets the opportunity and the education that they deserve and that they need to succeed in life. Carving out these pathways forward is not and will not be easy, but genuine change for the better rarely is. And so as you all continue on your own journeys as leaders and volunteers in our community, I want to encourage you to lead in your own spheres from a place of courage and commitment, like Ms. Reagan, to be invested and determined, like my first graders, and to be innovative and resilient, like the educators in our city who are giving their all, and to see every roadblock as a reason to commit to community. Thankfully, we are not called to journey forward alone. The more we assume responsibility for our collective strength, the more that we will be able to journey further, faster. Thank you.
Bravo. Thank you so much, Crystal. I know that our members are just honored, energized, and inspired as we think about the school readiness, that work that we are doing right here on the front lines alongside of you with the schools that you have called out, with Heart Math Tutoring. We are in the fight with you, and we agree that we have to make a difference in our community, and it starts with education. Thank you so much for sharing your story. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to our management team council leaders for management team updates, starting with Amber Shannon, our Community Impact Council Manager.
Thank you, Charlita. So first, I want to applaud our CIC team for the amazing work that they have done so far this year. They have been absolutely fantastic by being flexible and meeting our community partners where they are in their pursuit for elevating the school-ready focus area. And as Crystal mentioned, this year in particular has shown that the CMS system has extending inequities that we can address with each of our committees' hard work. So I wanted to highlight a few things that the CIC committees have done so far this year. Although CMS was on virtual learning, our committee members have been able to volunteer at 56 events, touched over 6,000 people, and contributed almost 940 hours toward fulfilling our mission. But we want to give a special thanks to several different committees, and these are certainly not saying anything against our committees, but these committees have done a little bit above and beyond to help our community partners that really were struggling in meeting the needs of the community. Bright Blessings was able to impact 702 children who are experiencing homelessness and contributed 139 hours by packing kits for them. I'm sure many of you participated in the 95 hours to assist with them as well. Classroom Central Committee has assisted almost 2,100 students and teachers in our community by renting supplies and flashcards at their warehouse as well as in their homes, and logging more than 165 volunteer hours. Second Harvest packed more than 2,400 backpacks for children impacted by food scarcity, specifically at Reed Park. And Sugar Creek Charter School coordinated a successful back-to-school initiative in August that ensured 500 kindergartners and first graders had headphones to get their virtual school and virtual learning off on the right start. They also put together 200 teacher appreciation bags using community donations that valued over $5,000. All of these members participated and worked hard diligently to make sure our community partner needs were met. So we wanted to showcase a few pictures of some of our great community members or committee members that have put together these kits and gone on site to help with our community partners. And just to show you what it really looks like, we can throw these numbers and these hours out there, but I wanted to showcase a few highlights from other committees to see what that really looks like within the community. So for example, Thompson Child and Family Focus created a superhero event that several of our leaders actually were able to attend, myself included, where our members were supplied superhero kits ahead of time. And then we attended virtually to see them all dressed up and work on their crafts. And they were very excited for that particular event, something creative and different for them to do in a time where things may not be as fun or as engaging as they typically are. The Kids in the Kitchen Committee was able to bring healthy food demonstrations virtually to children at Renaissance West. One fantastic story that we heard was that one mom said her son started trying a new vegetable just from that cooking demo and has requested it since. Now, I don't have kids, but for parents out there, I would call that a win. The Charlotte Speech and Hearing Committee members also have been recording themselves reading books in order to stay consistent with their support. That community partner still sees individuals within the community, but they also need that support, and those virtual reading sessions have been instrumental for that group. And then Done in the Day has been extremely creative with the certain restrictions by providing virtual opportunities for community members to serve baby bundles, promising pages, Dress for Success, and supporting a variety of our CIC committees as well. So thank you from the bottom of my heart and my assistant manager's heart, Shannon, and all of our Community Impact Council committee members, and working so hard and putting our school ready focus to the forefront so far this year. Keep up the good work, and thank you. Now I'm going to hand it over to Brittany Wright, our Fund Development Council Manager.
Hi, everyone. I hope you all are doing well today. So just a couple of updates from me from a fund development perspective. It has been a hard year and a half, basically, with COVID, that we've had to cancel our in-person fundraising events. But I want to give a huge shout out to everyone who supported the Junior League of Charlotte and the annual fund during our 95 Hours of Giving campaign. We were able to raise over $27,000 during that week of giving back in October. So thank you to everyone who donated during that time, and thank you to all of you who have donated to the annual fund so far this year. Also, don't forget that each month we have social events. So be sure that you check out the happenings and Facebook, the members' Facebook page for upcoming events. This year we've had some great events, which included a cocktail making class. There's some book clubs out there that are meeting and reading some books. And most recently, for the holiday season, they had quite a few ladies who participated in a Secret Santa event. So, make sure you are on the lookout just to make sure you're plugged in while we're all still pretty much at home with COVID. So definitely check out some of the social events to keep plugged into Junior League. And then, of course, with this year, we don't have as many events for you guys to come out to meet your fundraising requirement. So if you haven't met your fundraising requirement yet, there's still an opportunity for you to meet that. Of course, you can always donate to the annual fund, but definitely coming up in a few weeks, we have the Little Black Dress Initiative. So the Little Black Dress Initiative will be running from March 8th through March 12th this year, which coincides with the International Women's Day, which is on March 8th. So join us to raise awareness on the Junior League of Charlotte's mission and, all of the great work that we do and how that impacts the Charlotte community and helping raise people out of poverty. Also, another note with LBDI this year, on Monday, March 8th, which I mentioned is International Women's Day, we have the opportunity to celebrate with other women throughout the Charlotte region. So this year, the International House will hold their 6th annual International Women's Day event, and they have invited the Junior League of Charlotte, as well as the Charlotte Regional Business Alliance, to be an official partner of the program. So the members of the Junior League of Charlotte are invited to attend the event virtually, and there will be a special segment during the event to kick off and celebrate the Junior League of Charlotte and LBDI. So there's more details to come on that event, and also, of course, more details to come on LBDI. So just make sure you're on the lookout and mark your calendars for March 8th and mark your calendars for that whole week of March 8th through 12th to celebrate LBDI and the Junior League's work. So now I will pass it on to Nicole Smith, who's going to give you updates for the Education and Training Council.
Hello, everyone, and Happy New Year. First of all, I do want to give a big thank you to all the committee members and leaders within ENT. As you see here, they've taken a crisis and they pivoted with such grace and class. So on behalf of myself and Paris McAdoo, who is my assistant manager for ENT, we want to say thank you to all of you. Just a couple of upcoming items. Get on board January 13th first session with 12 participants with a brand new supplemental guide as a valuable resource. And I'm very excited about this as well as get on board. They have created a wonderful resource that the participants can use during the program. So that's new for this year. So I cannot wait to see the excitement and the engagement from that group as they are virtual. However, they do have this resource to use to follow along. Training and development, February 2nd, Training Tuesday, the first Tuesday of every month. We are planning to have a president or past president panel to demonstrate servant leadership with Charlita Hatch, our current JLC Madam President, moderating. So we do appreciate her doing that for us. But I want to make sure that you check Digital Cheetah calendar for upcoming Training Tuesdays. They are all on the calendar, first Tuesday of each month. And so just check those out and please register for those upcoming trainings. Public policy and advocacy, man, last year they had a year. They were working through an app called Motivote, trying to get everyone to make sure everyone was registered to vote, especially women. They charged hard in that effort. There were times where even with the Association of Junior League, where we were number one. Charlotte was number one, so we were very proud of that. But what a year last year for election and politics. So they worked hard in making sure that everyone understood the election process and had several training opportunities for that. But be on the lookout for more details as we have Wine and Wisdom on February 8th and just seeing who will provide that wisdom for the JLC members. We also have, next slide, please. We also have upcoming Junior League Junior League Charlotte leadership. If you're interested in JLC leadership, April 24th, our annual Lead Saturday. It will be virtual, yet very engaging and rich in content. I want to make sure you mark your calendars for that. We're in the process of planning that event, so be on the lookout for more information regarding that. Also, I ask you to complete the training surveys that are provided to you via your email. They help us plan for the next year events. So if you attend any training coming from Education and Training Council, there's a survey that is emailed to you. Please take time to complete that. And last but not least, 95 continuous hours of service. I want everyone to give themselves a hand in participating in this awesome event. GMM, my General Membership Meeting Committee, you rock. You guys jumped in and organized this event like no other. But I do want to give a big shout out to Frajon Talley. Make sure you go into your chat right now. Go into chat right now and give Fraj a big shout out, a big whoop whoop, because she worked her tail off. She worked with CIC closely to make sure that there were enough community partners out there for everyone to volunteer, whether it was during the day, in the middle of the night, whether you were making flashcards, whether you were dropping off food or whatever. Fraj, you rock. And so we want to say thank you to you. She worked that out. We had 250 plus volunteers, over 450 hours, $5,000 worth of food donated that fed 250 families, and over $2,000 donated that provided 8,640 diapers. So I just want to applaud all of you ladies for stepping in and showing out. So give yourself a round of applause. And now I'm going to turn it over to Ashley Morris, who's HRC manager.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Nicole. Great updates so far from the management team. On behalf of the Human Resources Council, I just wanted to say that in addition to supporting our provisionals, our actives, and our transfers so far this year, like we normally do, the Human Resources Council has also been really busy in the first half of this league year, updating our membership categories in our policies and procedures document. And we did this in order to kind of streamline and clarify the requirements of each membership status. So if you would like to request a change in your membership status, so for example, from active member to sustaining member, or to request a year of flex leave, then please reach out to your membership advisor to discuss it further. Your membership advisor can help you review the requirements, weigh your options, make sure that it's fitting your needs for next year. And then they can help you fill out and submit the online request form that's due by March 15th. To further assist you, HRC has put together a nice little one-pager document that can be found in Digital Cheetah. And this document really details each membership status and all the requirements. And it's kind of like a one-stop shop to see, what you need to do in order to switch your status if you would like to. You can access this document by clicking on the link that I put on this slide, which will be uploaded. This whole presentation, I think, will be uploaded into Digital Cheetah after the meeting tonight. Or you can follow the pathway that I put at the bottom of this slide. Or you can reach out to me directly if you have any questions or concerns. We're happy to help and talk through your options. And we just want to make sure that the JLC is working for you and you're having a meaningful experience this year. So that's all from HRC. And now I will turn it over to our Communications Council Manager, Spencer Lash. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Spencer Lash. I am the Communications Council Manager. I'm sure you've seen me post a million times on our Facebook page internally. Just want to go over a quick few things with the Communications Council. We do run the happenings, social media, any website updates, blog requests. So anything that you want from the Communications Council, super simple. Just send us a request. All of those can be found on Digital Cheetah. If you look at this first bullet point here, they're all in forms. So you go to Digital Cheetah, and then on the top, click resources, and then scroll down to communications, and then there's a full page of everything that you need there. And if you didn't know, Digital Cheetah does have like a search function over on the top right, I believe. So you can always search content and type in what you think. Digital Cheetah has an array of information. So anything you think you ever may be looking for, search there first. If you can't find it, ask any of the leaders that have talked tonight. We can help you find it as well. Watch out in the next, hopefully, few weeks for a survey about the preferred methods of communications. Obviously, we send emails from the Junior League office as well as MailChimp. There's internal Facebook page, all our external Facebook pages, the happenings. So we're really just trying to hopefully figure out the best way that you all want your communications, how much you want to see communications from us. So look for that. It will be probably in an email, possibly in the happenings as well, a survey on that, so we can get you everything the best way that you would like. And speaking of JLC emails, if you are not getting them, please always let me know when we send the happenings. I try to post in the internal Facebook page. Sometimes people accidentally unsubscribe. It's really simple to do, but I can look on the back end of that and see if you're unsubscribed and make sure you're getting it. A lot of the times, emails also go to your junk, spam, promotions folder, so always check those. Make sure you're following the JLC social media accounts, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter if you have them. Also use the hashtag that we're continuing throughout the year, JLC Mission Possible 95. Anytime you tag us, we are normally sharing your posts, and that's how we get a lot of pictures that we post anyways. So we love everything that you're sharing. And if you went to the vision board party tonight, please, please, please share on social media so you can be entered into the latest raffle. And we can share all of your creativity and your vision that you have for 2021. And lastly, watch for Instagram story takeover soon. Ahead of Willingness to Serve, we have a handful of women who are going to take over the Instagram stories on our Junior League page to just show you kind of a behind the scenes of what they really do, so you can figure out if the role that they currently have is something that you're interested in, and just see a better behind the scenes look instead of just like reading what exactly they do on paper. So that's everything from Communications Council. I'm the last council to present, so I'm going to hand it back over to the GMM team.
it would help if I would unmute. That was so 2020. But I was saying thank you very much to the management team. Those were great updates that you provided. It's great to see the things that we're doing around the league. We only have 2 GMMs left this year, guys. March 6th and April 24th. They are both Saturdays, so make sure you go and sign up if you need your GMM credit. April 24th, we are really, really hoping to make it an all-day celebration with our GMM with Lead Saturday and a cocktail party. And just how tonight I was on mute and the video I played I thought was going to come through and it didn't, we may have to pivot. So just keep an eye out. We'll post the link in the comments and just stay tuned for more information. But it's all about what happens in the world. We'll pay attention and we'll see and just be ready to pivot. So thank you very much, management team. And I will pass it over to Charlita for one more announcement and to close us out.
Thank you, Brianna, Frajivan, and the entire General Membership Meeting Committee. We cannot say enough how once again, through any technical difficulties and audio, you planned an excellent meeting with a lot of moving parts. Thank you for giving us this live opportunity, albeit virtually. At this time, I'd like to give you all a quick update on the board work that is happening this year. So you should have received an email earlier this week about our staff transition. And while we say farewell to Cammie and Suzanne, we send a warm JLC welcome to Sarah and Linda Lemons, who are here virtually with us tonight. So feel free to drop a farewell to Cammie and Suzanne and a warm welcome to Sarah and Linda in our comments. For years, the League has supported our members with financial assistance needed to remain a member if needed. Under last year's leadership, the Membership Matters Fund was established to provide financial assistance for our members in response to the global pandemic. This fund will remain as a support for our members. This year's board, under the leadership of Julie Brown, established a scholarship committee to research feasibility for a merit-based scholarship programs for members that are going above and beyond in our league. There are 3 scholarships that have been established in addition to the Provisional of the Year award. Each scholarship will pay for dues for the upcoming year and admission to either the Leadership Development Institute or Get On Board. The first year has already been fully funded by our sustainers, and the next 4 years has been fully funded by the JLC Legacy Foundation. So let's talk through these 3 scholarships that you are all will be eligible for. The Shine Scholarship, which is showcasing and honoring inspirational, noble exemplars in the JLC. It's a merit-based scholarship that will be awarded in recognition and gratitude to a member of the Junior League of Charlotte. The details will be published. Next slide, please. The RISE Scholarship is recognizing, inspiring, and supporting excellence within the JLC. This is another merit-based scholarship that will be provided to a non-slated leader of the Junior League of Charlotte. Next slide. And our last scholarship is the Catherine Moorhead Cluett Scholarship, which will be a scholarship that is provided in recognition to a slated leader. So as you can see, we have the Provisional of the Year Award, which will have their dues and Get On Board the Leadership Development Institute. The Catherine Moorhead Cluett Scholarship, which is for a slated leader. Our previous scholarship, Shine Rise, which is for a non-slated leader, and Shine for any leader, any junior league that is not a member. So we wanted to make sure that there was representation across all of our members, provisionals and actives, to be able to be recognized for the work that you're doing. So stay tuned for applications that will be released in the coming weeks. Lastly, another task force that the board has established is called the Membership Business Directory. It is compiling a list of all of our member-owned and operated businesses and providing a way for members to commemorate the 95th anniversary. They just posted on Facebook that there is a giveaway gift that is going on right now for members that tag the most member-owned businesses that they know of. There are also free options. You just need to opt in. So if you don't have a business, you can still commemorate the 95th with a note of congratulations by taking out an ad, working with your councils or your committees. But we really wanted this to be a centralized way for members to be able to do business with each other, because a lot of us joined either for social reasons or for networking or for service. And so this gives the ability to touch 2 out of 3. So through all of the technical difficulties we had with sound and audio and internet connections and live streamings that worked just fine yesterday during our dry run, we are at the end of our meeting. Thank you for bearing with us and being patient with us as we close out today's meeting. Please remember that while our building is closed, our mission is not. The Junior League of Charlotte is a safe space for us to share and build community while we impact our community. Former Junior League member Eleanor Roosevelt said, "The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams." And when I see each of you, albeit virtually, I see that the future is beautiful and it's bright. It is 7:44, and this concludes the meeting of the Junior League of Charlotte. We are adjourned.